You are listening to the CittaCalcioUsa show, the only news and podcast in English about AS Cittadella. Hello everyone, welcome back to the CittaCalcioUsa show, episode number 151, coming to you on Friday, December 6th. Cittadella getting for a very difficult task, a very difficult game in La Spezia, as they were not to take on Spezia on Sunday. They are coming off a 2-2 draw with Juve Stabia, a good performance from Cittadella, from Del Canto's men, but it ends up leaving Cittadella in last place entering this match day 16 of Serie B. Plus, we got some news to talk about. Amazon officially announcing its partnership with Serie B. It's a new streaming platform, so more games are being shown there. And as well as getting you ready for this game upcoming on the Stadio Alberto Pico on December 8th. So lots to get into, lots to talk about in this podcast. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I want to just start by saying a big thank you once again to Pietro Zaha from Triveneto Goal, who was the guest in last episode. It was the first episode ever, all in Italian, of the CittaCalcioUsa show. So apologies if you were not able to listen to it, because I tried my best to add subtitles in little clips in Instagram, but obviously the full episode couldn't be translated word for word. So if you weren't able to get a chance because you don't speak it, I apologize. But this is the learning process for everybody, because I'm still learning Italian. I'm still improving, and you could learn as well. So this is a great way to practice and to learn. But once again, big thank you to Pietro. He was a great guest. I hope you all enjoyed it. And I have some very exciting news. I am starting a new position at Triveneto Goal as an editorial soccer writer for Cittadella. So I've already published one article. That was the game against Juve Stabia, and I did already write a second one, and it should be on the website very, very soon. So stay on the lookout for that. But yes, it is trivenetogol.it. You could find all the stuff there. So I'm very happy about it, very excited. It's once again all in Italian, so you could practice along with me for reading and writing. So it should be all good. But thank you once again to Pietro, and I'm sure we're going to have him on soon in another episode. But getting into this game against Juve Stabia, 2-2 at the Tombolato, the second straight game where Cittadella scored 2 goals in one match. Remember, they were coming off a 3-2 loss in Bari after being 3-0 down at halftime, and they did end up getting 2 goals in this match. This time, they had the lead, then Juve Stabia came back, and then Pandolfi scoring right before halftime to put the score at 2-2, and it did not change from there. The game ending in a 2-2 draw. Now, this is a very interesting result for numerous reasons. I think this game really perfectly describes the story of 2024 for Cittadella. It's a decent performance against a good Juve Stabia side. We've been talking about how they've been just really they've been playing good this year for coming from Serie G. And if you would say to someone at the start of August, you'd get a point against Juve Stabia, who had been in this good, they haven't won in a few games. And if you had told someone that you would get a draw against them, playing a good game, that was another thing. Just not only the result was good, the performance was there. I saw a lot of, fight. I saw a lot of courage from the players that had been missing for quite some time. And that was I think a good kind of way they showed it. But Cittadella have 10 minutes of bad football, bad soccer in the first half, starting from the 30th minute, ending in the 40th minute. And what happens? Juve Stabia score 2 goals, and they are trailing once again. It was a unbelievable goal by Foligno, who is the defender for Juve Stabia, a bicycle kick goal that not only made headlines in Italy, but across the world. I saw a tweet from OneFootball, or a notification from OneFootball, that was one of their very few tweets that they tweet about Serie B at all, and it ends up being the goal that Cittadella conceded. But those type of goals you can't do anything about. You just have to tip your cap and applaud, because that was just a ridiculous goal, bicycle kick from the outside of the 18. But that really describes Cittadella this year. Since January, it feels like everything that has, little thing that goes wrong has gone wrong for Cittadella, because this was a decent performance. This was a decent result against a pretty difficult opponent. Once again, yeah, like I said, Juve hadn't won a game since October, but they were still, they had, like I said, they had good performances against Sassuolo, Pisa, losing against Palermo, even though they had a good game in that match. This was definitely a team that could really bring it. And, they score 1-0. I thought it was going well up until the half hour mark. And then Juve get a corner, they score off that, and then the bicycle kick, just a world class strike from Foligno. You can't really take anything away. But after all that, Cittadella are losing, and then a little bit of luck goes their way towards the end of the second half, where they end up getting a penalty from Luca Pandolfi, which he scores, and that's now once again his third goal in his last 4 games for Pandolfi. But this result puts Cittadella in last place, entering matchday 16 of Serie B, entering a very difficult game against Spezia, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But that is now 15 games without a home win, and Cittadella could play very good. They could have good performances at home, but as long as they're not getting the 3 points, I don't think you're going to see really any changes in the atmosphere. They could get a draw against Sassuolo or Pisa or Spezia at home, but still no 3 points, no win, and they have 3 opportunities until they have 3 more opportunities to get a home win before it would be 1 exact year without getting a win at the Tombolato, starting all the way on January 13th against Palermo. And so they have 3 home games left in 2024, which is against Cremonese, Reggiana, and coincidentally Palermo, which is the 29th of December. So this it's still a burden on the backs of this team, because they, even once again I say, they played a good game against Juve Stabia. They scored 2 goals for the second straight game, second time this season where they've scored 2 goals in a game, via one by penalty, but one was well worked down the left side by Masangelo, and getting a header was Amatucci. They put all this work in. They conserve a point, yet they find themselves bottom of Serie B and 15 games without a home win. It just seems like this year has really just been a curse for Cittadella. And I think Marchetti kind of described this best in his post-match conference. Like, he says, I can't wait for 2024 to be over. And I think a lot of Cittadella fans would say the same thing. It just has not gone right for the Granata. This is basically the story of the year for Cittadella. And Dal Canto said after the Bari match last weekend or the weekend prior, that it was essential not to lose against Juve Stabia. Well, they did that. They got a point out of it, despite going behind. They ended up maybe a little bit of luck that they were looking for, but it wasn't enough. And the last few minutes there, it was a little bit less of a chaotic second half, than the first half. But then Mario Hervasio had 2 opportunities to score in the final minutes there, but it was both saved, both one on like a volley, and then on the follow-up it was saved once again. And that was once again another thing that's just not going well for Cittadella. If that happened in 2023, I'd say that Cittadella wins this game, just because of it's really hard to describe. It just seems like whenever they play at home, just things don't go right, even on the road as well. But if you look at the XG for this game, 1.6 for Cittadella, they 0.4 for Juve Stabia in the game, actually ended 2-2. So statistically, Cittadella should have won this game. A bit similar, I'd say, to the Cosenza match. It was Dal Canto's first game back in October, where Cittadella had so many opportunities. They had a goal disallowed at the final minute. Vita had a chance, and it just seemed like nothing wanted to go into the back of the net for for Cittadella. And, this game I think is really similar to that game against Cosenza. But that's kind of all I have to say. Once again, yeah, just a chaotic first half, and then second half was a little bit more slower. Even though I think Cittadella could have easily won this game, and it is, I think, a point that Del Canto and Co will take. I think they'll be happy that that at least it wasn't another loss, like he said, where there was no way they could have lost to Juve Stabia, and then yeah, I don't have really much to say other than this was definitely a winnable game for the Granata, and they currently sit bottom of Serie B going into this game against Spezia. So before we get into that game at the Pico on Sunday, I just want to read you some news about not Cittadella, from Serie B coming out this week. Long-awaited Amazon Prime Video streaming all the games in Serie B. So there's now 2 streaming platforms you could watch the games on. It is now DAZN, and they call it La B channel. And unfortunately, I'm not sure if it is streaming in the US because I've already looked on Amazon Prime here, and I want to say it's geo-blocked because I have not seen anything revolving the La B channel, and every time I click on the link that Lega B puts out, it doesn't take me anywhere. It just just gives me the Amazon page. So that's my fear, that it is geo-blocked. I still have a way to watch, but this is a little slightly disappointed, but I wouldn't say I'm surprised because I kind of knew this was going to happen. I knew a Amazon Prime Video streaming service would come out, but the problem was geo-blocking. It might be only available in Italy, and it looks like that's the case. So, but if you are in Italy, if you are listening to this and is in Italy, currently it is the cost of this subscription for all the games is about 10 euros per month after the first 3 months. For the first 3 months, looks like you get a discount for about $5, I want to say. Don't quote me on that, but after the first 3 months, it looks like it is about 10 euros per month, which I believe is cheaper than DAZN. So you might want to look into that. But if anything changes around US streaming, if it gets available in the US, kind of like what it did with Helbits Live, then I will let you know. But for now, it looks like it's only available in Italy, unfortunately. But let's see what happens in the future for the streaming. But it's good to see that. It's like I said, long awaited, long in the making. It was supposed to be ready by August. Then it was pushed back to November, and then now in December it is finally available. It's available this weekend, so you could watch the Cittadella Spezia match on Amazon Prime. And speaking of that match, let's get into the final part of this podcast, getting you ready for Cittadella's matchday 16 game against Spezia at the Stadio Alberto Pico, December 8th. That's a Sunday, 3 p.m. Central European time. That is 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Another Sunday morning game here in the United States. I did already do previews and shows with Elia, the Italian guy, who is a Spezia fan. He's the co-host on Speaking Serie B, where we do every Wednesday at 7 p.m. European time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do Speaking Serie B, going over all the games in Serie B, making predictions. And we did a little bit of a preview for this upcoming games, as this is the 2 teams we cover. So, and also, I want to mention that on Monday, we also did another live show here. He had me on his live show, Spazio al Prossimo, where me, Antonio Palopoli, who is another journalist from Italy for Media Sud, and Elia went over the game. It's another Italian podcast show that I was on. So once again, if you want to help improve your Italian, that's the show for you, because I go over the Cittadella's current situation and we get a little bit of an insight for Spezia's situation. But going into this game, is this mission impossible? I said that weird. Mission impossible for Cittadella, because Spezia is unbeaten at home since February 28th. That is a long time. And I had the amount of games that they were unbeaten for. I believe it was 14 games without a home win. I'm just gonna pull it up real quick. No, it is 13 straight home matches where Spezia have not lost at the Stadio Alberto Pico. That is February 28th of 2024, their last home defeat. I believe that was against Feral Pisalo. And yeah, that was even before I went to Italy in March. So it's been a long time since Spezia has beaten or has been beaten at home. And once again, they are one of the most informed teams of 2024. Quite the opposite of Cittadella. As we've talked many times on this show, of Cittadella just being really horrible in 2024. Only one home win and only 5 wins in total, and sitting currently bottom of Serie B. Meanwhile, Spezia is quite the opposite of it. They've had 57 points. If I'm just gonna confirm that real quick because I should have put this on my notes here. But I was actually doing an article. This is my upcoming article for Tri Veneto Goal. Just kind of the disparity and the differences this year between Cittadella and Spezia. So be on the lookout for that article. I'll explain that more. But basically, in 2024, these two teams have just been in completely opposite directions. Cittadella with the lowest amount of points tallies for a team that's been here for last season and this season, for 34 games, 5 wins, 11 draws, and 18 losses. 51 goals conceded and only 26 points with a negative 26 goal differential. Meanwhile, Spezia, like I said, 57 points in 2024, 14 wins, 15 draws, and 5 losses for Le Aquile. This is, if you recall, last December in 2023, towards the end of the year, it was one of Cittadella's last games of 2023, where they beat Spezia 4-1 at the Tombolato after a second half rout. And both teams were really in opposite directions. Cittadella was kind of in the playoff spots, kind of dreaming of, making to the playoffs for the first time since 2021. Meanwhile, Spezia were in the relegation and were really fearing back-to-back relegations. Remember, last season they were coming off a relegation from Serie A, and they nearly got relegated that year. However, since that moment, it seems like the tables have quite turned because, once again, Cittadella has been struggling, and Spezia has gone 57 points. Only Cremonese, who has 2 points more than them, has scored more points in 2024. Cremonese has had 59 points and Spezia 57. Pisa just behind them with 55 points. So this is quite incredible because just completely opposite, two completely unidentical teams. From, if you had told someone from last year they would be in this position, people would say you're nuts. But here we are. This is the reality, and this is what Cittadella has at their hands right now going into this game against Sunday. I will say, if we were talking about this on Speaking Serie B on Wednesday with Elia, that this is probably, or I wouldn't say probably, this is a game that Spezia needs to win if they are serious about finishing in the top 2 of Serie B. Remember, right now, Spezia currently occupying the 3rd place in Serie B after losing for the first time this season away at Palermo 2-0. They have 30 points, but Pisa just above them with 31 points in 2nd place, and Sassuolo first with 34. If Spezia want to get promotion automatically in that 2nd spot, they really have to take care of business at home against a struggling Cittadella side who have only had 5 wins this year compared to Spezia's only 5 losses. So that really tells you a lot. And, I will say the little bit of hope I would give Cittadella is that they are better on the road, I believe, just given that they don't have to worry about that home record, breaking that, getting that home win, the pressure of performing in front of the fans, going into a difficult place like this against a team that hasn't lost at home since February, against a team that had only had one loss or was undefeated up until last weekend where they lost against Palermo. Going up against a team like that, I think puts the pressure way down. It's not a game where Cittadella is expected to win or even get a point. So I think that will play into their hands, just given that they won't have to feel that pressure of getting a result when they're really in need one. I think this is, a game where Cittadella is very happy with a draw, even though it may keep them in last place come the end of the weekend. But this is a tall task for Cittadella. Another factor that could play into their hands is that it looks like it will rain. I checked the weather forecast in La Spezia, and it looks like it will be raining. Will be a cold, rainy December afternoon on a Sunday in La Spezia in Liguria. So maybe that'll it'll be like a curveball for Spezia, just kind of a little bit of the factors might be a little tilted, in if I say that correctly, but maybe that'll play into Cittadella's hands. Maybe it won't. Maybe Spezia will convincingly win this match, which I think will happen. Or if Cittadella wants to make it interesting, they could score first, and that'll be something. I unfortunately I cannot see Cittadella getting a result here, even a win. I don't see happening. A draw maybe, just given the facts that I just gave you, that it's going to rain, and Cittadella I think plays better on the road. However, just looking at the squad, I think Spezia are just too strong of a team. They're just very organized in the back. I think Luca D'Angelo is one of the best coaches in Serie B, at least this season. He's been doing a great job ever since he took over last season, driving Spezia to safety and getting 57 points in 2024. It's really, really, really impressive stuff from D'Angelo. But you never know in this league. We never know what's going to happen in this crazy, crazy league. We've seen many surprise results already this season, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens for Cittadella. But before we go, I kind of want to read you the standings in Serie B before we go here. Like I said, Sassuolo, Pisa, Spezia, all in the top three. Below Spezia, 6 points below them is fourth place Cremonese. And then at the bottom of the table, well, I was saying Cittadella was last place all this time, but currently right now they are 19th at the time of the recording. That's because Südtirol just finished playing Juve Stabia in Castelmare di Stabia. It was a 2-1 victory for Juve Stabia, which leaves Südtirol bottom of Serie B on goal difference. No, they're tied on goal difference. Oh, that's very interesting. But let's just say if Cittadella loses this game, I think they're going to be last place. But if they get at least a point, they'll not be in last place. But they are currently towards the bottom of Serie B. Tied with them on points is Südtirol, obviously, and Frosinone with 13 points, who got a much-needed win against Cesena on last Sunday, which was really, really big for them. Then 17th, we have Reggiana with 15 points. 16th, Carrarese with 16 points. Tied with them on 16 points is Salernitana and Modena, as well as Cosenza. And then a little bit further up the table, we have Sampdoria, Catanzaro, Mantova, Brescia. Into the playoff spots, we have Palermo, Bari, Juve Stabia, and Cesena. So that's kind of the standings going into this match day 16. Like I said, Juve Stabia just beating Südtirol 2-1 on Friday. The Saturday games we have tomorrow, we have Bari, Cesena, Carrarese, Palermo, Mantova, Pisa, Modena, Salernitana, Cosenza, Frosinone. And then Sunday we have Catanzaro, Brescia, Cremonese, Reggiana, Spezia, Cittadella, and Sassuolo, Sampdoria. Real quick, I think one of the results that you should probably pay attention to, I don't think this will affect Cittadella, but I kind of want to say this right now, is Mantova, Pisa. That's going to be a very interesting game. Pisa, as we know, have been really good this season, but they've had a little bit of they're kind of slowing down a little bit, even though, they got draws against Catanzaro, Cosenza, and they lost recently against Carrarese, albeit with 10 men. But Mantova is undefeated at home this season, and if I'm not mistaken, they're one of the best home teams this year. They have 15 points, 4 wins, 3 draws, and 0 losses. So I think this is going to be a very interesting game. I could definitely see Mantova winning that. In fact, I did predict that in the Speaking Serie B prediction video, so go check that out. Another one is Caradese Palermo. Palermo still trying to find what they are, because they beat Spezia at home, but they also lost Cittadella at home. So there's quite unpredictable Palermo. Cosenza, Frosinone coming off that win. Can they keep up that momentum? And then Sassuolo, Sampdoria. Can Sassuolo, who just got beat 6-1 at San Siro in the Coppa Italia, can they continue their fine form? Because they look like quite an unstoppable machine in Serie B right now. But that is going to be it for me today. I'm already kind of going over the limit I wanted to talk about today. So I'm going to end it here. Just as a reminder, Cittadella taking on Spezia at the Stadio Alberto Pico, December 8th, Sunday, 3 p.m. Central European Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Time is your kickoff. Cittadella trying to get a improbable but not impossible victory or even a draw in La Spezia to a team that have not lost at the Stadio Alberto Pico since February. So let's see if Cittadella can do it. But for now, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at CittaCalcioUsa, and visit our website at CittaCalcioUsa.com for more news articles, information news, previews, recaps, all that stuff at CittaCalcioUsa.com, as well as visit my recent article that should be out soon at trivenetogol.it. So go check it out there. But anyway, that's going to be it for me today. I will see you next week recapping the game. And as always, Forza Citta. Thank you for listening to the CittaCalcioUsa show. If you liked it, please share and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at CittaCalcioUsa. See you next time, and remember, Forza Citta.